Hello and welcome to those who will stumble across this. Bell of Lost Souls made a particularly stupid article, which it's Bell of Lost Souls, so it's kind of a given. Uh, on November 22nd, as you might know, it is a bit past that. I was going to talk about this earlier, but then I got stricken down with a fantastic flu of unknown origin. So that was neat. Because of the flu of unknown origin, my voice might be a bit more nasally, and I horribly apologize for such terribleness. Actually, I guess I should preface this by saying I use many a third-party bit and mini in my own armies, and I've always recommended people to do so all the way back since I started playing the game. We'll get more into that as it goes on. Warhammer 40k, third-party miniatures are ruining the game. By Abe F.O.I.L. I fucking still hate this logo, especially that. What's wrong with the old one? Anyway, that's not the point of this. Today we look at how non-GW miniatures impact Warhammer 40k's rules in a significant way. Warhammer 40,000 is, without any real contest, the largest tabletop miniatures game around. This is very true. Anyone who tries to argue that there are bigger tabletop miniature games often just has a real hatred of GW and like to pretend that their success isn't a success. Where Games Workshop is a shitty company, but you'd have to be an idiot to assume it's not successful. It's a massive game with millions of players, and even more fans. One of the best parts of it is the miniatures. These are varied and numerous, with some stunning designs. Even better, and often setting them apart, is that they can typically be constructed in several ways. This ability to modify and combine bits from multiple kits is a vital part of the hobby. Due to its success, GW has gotten a lot of copycats, some of which make models or bits for 40k itself, which is now hurting the game. Let's talk about why. Well, first, let's talk about kits that can be constructed in several ways. Games Workshop is a lot more monopose now than they were, say, 10 years ago. A lot of their kits have strange, this leg can only go on this body, this head goes on this, yada yada. It's not the hardest thing to fix if you know what you're doing, but it is not nearly as easy to just grab two boxes and smash them together as it once was, which is a shame, really. And yeah, Games Workshop has lots of copycats, because despite Games Workshop's best efforts, the Warhammer 40,000 IP is very well loved. What are third-party models? Third-party models, simply put, are any model not made by Games Workshop but used in 40k. I mean, I know this article is technically just about 40k, but this was true even back in when fantasy was still around. People would use Reaper minis for shit all the time. However, these can fall into several categories. Some of these models are made for other games or display, but a player might want to use them. For instance, an Imperial Guard player buys a model of a real World War II Sherman tank and converts it to use as a Lehman Russ. I haven't seen that happen in a very long time. While this happens, it's not typically what we discuss with third-party models. More commonly, you get companies or sellers making models that are clearly meant to be used in 40k. You can easily find things like a line of models called Imperial Space Warriors, meant to be used as Space Marines. Yeah, this is true. They're often different enough to where anyone who has any real knowledge of the setting, or the armor marks, or what have you, can just take it at glance and be like, oh, okay. This, and this is wrong on it, so it's not actually Space Marine power armor. or custodian or whatever. You also gotta remember a lot of these, well, not a lot. Some of these companies that are still around got their start because Games Workshop just wasn't making models for units. Or they, like Custodes, like there's been a couple companies over the years that have produced Adeptus Custodes shit, long before Games Workshop made any themselves. As you know, I fought a whole army of them. Within these companies, you also have a split in how they deliver products. Some companies produce a physical model and send it to the buyer. Others provide a data file, an STL file, and it's up to the buyer to use a 3D printer to make the models themselves. A few do both. In any of these cases, the models are considered third party. Yes. Personally, I've only recently started getting into 3D printing and whatnot. Mostly because for a very long time, when people would use 3D print stuff, you could tell it was 3D printed. It looked awful. Like, real bad. But the shit was about the same size, so you would let it slide. However, now it's gotten to the point where 3D printers can actually present something usable. Personally, I would always prefer just buying a physical thing over a digital file, but I cannot deny the usefulness of STL files. Especially when I need an absurd amount of something. Let's say spiked shoulder pads for a Space Marine, or an Apothecary's Narthecium. Bits versus models. There's also a line to be defined between producing individual bits and whole models. Bits represents a part of a model and is often intended to be used to augment a GW model. These can fill a niche where sought-after weapon options is hard to get, the player needs an extra meltagun, or where some personalization doesn't exist. The player wants a Power Fist with the Rainbow Warriors logo on it. Some outfits also sell full models. These are not meant to augment GW models, but to replace them. Yes, they are. A good part of this would be most of your special weapons. Games Workshop would put like one or two fucking meltaguns or flamers or whatever for like, we'll use Space Marine since this is the most common one. But like a flamer or a meltagun and a box. Well, I need two, or more for the squad. Or I'm building veterans out of the squad, so I need fucking 5 or 7, 10 or whatever. I'm not gonna buy the same kit, 10 times over. I'll go spend a couple bucks and get something from, get plasma guns from a third party like Cromlech or whatever. It's GW hurting themselves because it's true. They used, I don't know if they still do, but they used to sell meltaguns. The problem being is I think it was like 5 for, I think now it's an obscene amount. Let's look. They used to sell special weapons in little boxes, but you're talking a few for a lot, and shipping would be like a month or so, whereas if you bought it from a third party off of eBay or something like that, you'd get all of it and, everything you need in less than a week, a few days at most. And before, like, oh, but what if it sails across the ocean? I've had stuff shipped to me from across the ocean. It usually doesn't take very long. Third-party models hurt GW and game stores. I'm just gonna start off with no, they don't. Even with all the third-party shit that's been around since I've started playing, Games Workshop has grown to a multi-billion-dollar company. They're not being hurt. I'm not going to get into the morality or legality of third-party models here. Well, that's probably because you don't know either. However, it is fair to say the third-party models hurt both GW and your average friendly local gaming store. Do they, though? Honestly, do they? For GW, people buying third-party are simply not buying from them. For friendly local gaming stores, it's a little more complicated. It boils down to the most third-party models can't be offered via a friendly local gaming store. That is true. The amount of third-party bits I've seen for sale in game stores, hobby shops, whatever you want to call them, can be counted on one hand. It's unfortunate. Obviously, paints and stuff are a different thing, but like a Max Mini bid or something like that, right? I've never seen those for sale in the store. When it comes to buying from GW, let's say we'll go with I want a fancy headpiece, and let's say third parties didn't exist. I wouldn't be buying from GW. I'd go to eBay and just get the bit from someone else for cheaper. Or a Facebook trading group, or whatever. GW wasn't going to get the money anyway for most of this stuff, and they know it. That's why they've been growing. Even if a game store wanted to sell them, they can't. Either there is nothing physical to sell, an STL, or the myriad of companies don't sell through small individual vendors like the game store. It rarely makes financial sense in the few cases that a game store could even get the product per market. Because third-party models hurt GW, the company has had to find ways to discourage them, damaging the game via the rules. Or, Games Workshop is just inept. No model, no rules. For years, it was very common to find 40k unit options or whole units with rules but no models. There's a lot. I remember the Parasite of Mortrix, or the Harpy. Bunch of Tyranid stuff. Fantastic. For instance, there was a long period where there was no model for the Orc Battle Wagon. It was up to players to find a model they could use. In more recent years, GW has moved to make it so that if there isn't a model, there will be no rules. And it's a very stupid fucking decision, is what it is. In large part, this has been to combat third-party models. If GW doesn't make a model, it's assumed someone else will. Rather than kit bashing from GW kits, players might buy third-party. This has even led to them getting rid of unit options that aren't explicitly in a bit in a set. Once players purchase single third-party bits, they might buy whole models. That's true. If you were to realize you could get Space Marine weapons or orc heads from whatever company, and then you look and you realize you can get 10 minis for half the price of a GW mini or a box set, and they look similar enough because they've been growing in quality just in. While Games Workshop probably still is on the higher end of quality in terms of plastic kits, the other companies have been growing in quality as well. So it's not like they look bad or anything now. Honestly, the no models, no rules thing has also pissed off a lot of players and gotten a lot of people to say fuck it to the game. For instance, we'll use Tyranids with the Parasite of Mortrix. I know a couple of Tyranid players who converted all kinds of shit from the 5th edition codex, the Icenic Spore and all that. And they're all so proud of themselves. They look at all this cool, crazy stuff they've built and converted, or even buy third party. They also kept buying models from GW and the rules and played in the store, which made new or kept people coming in and had them buy things. But as soon as the 6th edition codex that came out and the Tyranid codex axed all that stuff, they're like, fuck it, I've wasted all my time, all my money, fuck this game. And then they stopped buying anything from GW. That doesn't hurt third parties, because that person might still just go buy a random third party every now and then just to paint, because it is a hobby. Whereas the rules come from GW. That's the thing they can always make their money on, in terms of the game itself. But if you keep burning players, they're gonna just say, fuck it. Like, I think the new Guard Codex got rid of shotguns or something for a unit. I don't know, I haven't been paying attention to the Imperial Guard release. It looks good. The new Sentinel's kind of but it's hard to improve upon perfection. Or, the other thing with the whole getting rid of rules and stuff, third parties might make rules, a new whole system, if you will, maybe in one page, and then the players will just go to that. Honestly, I don't think it's hurting Games Workshop as much as Games Workshop is hurting Games Workshop. Oh, Guard got hurt. Oh, I'm sure this was the fault of third party and not the fact that GW axed all the unique Guard regiments. This person probably has fucking no idea about Warhammer. This author probably started playing this in the last 2 editions. You can see how this affects an army very clearly in the new Astra Military book. In the new Imperial Guard book. A number of units that don't have explicit models are gone. In particular, classic units such as veterans and conscripts were removed from the book. Yeah, conscripts used to just be a different paint job. If I remember correctly, the Cadian conscript just had a white stripe on the helmet. And so, Games Workshop got rid of units when all they had to do was sell the same kit they were already selling. So it's not third party hurt them, it's that Games Workshop is retarded. Shocking, I know.
That's terribly shocking.
This is a pretty clear result of them not having specific models, despite just being conversions of the basic infantry squad. Again, this is Games Workshop shooting itself in the foot. Because, oh, I want 50 conscripts. Well, most of your player base is just going to go to Games Workshop and just buy guardsmen. Right? People are lazy and creatures of convenience. So by getting rid of that, they've actually just shot themselves in the foot in sales. This has nothing to do with third party, because for this instance of not having a specific model for a conscript, because, well, conscripts look the same as basic guardsmen. This is just GW being fucking stupid. You also have a lot of units with weapon restrictions that seem odd until you realize that's what the box comes with, and they can't take anything else. Again, this is stupid on Games Workshop's part. If they were actually more clever and they would sell proper weapon bundles and made it cheaper than the third parties, for instance, instead of selling 5 meltaguns for $15 when I could buy 10 meltaguns for 10 from someone else, they have the resources. They could probably sell 10 meltaguns for 10, right? Instead of 5 for 15. And by doing that, it would be way fucking easier to just go to Games Workshop and get it, because that would be convenient. This is nonsense. This is Games Workshop being retarded for the sake of being retarded. Because Games Workshop is a company that craves money and is very good at making it, but is very bad at optimizing and how to get it. It's very bizarre. Given the introduction of 3 regimental units in the book, it's clear that the only reason we didn't get more is down to a lack of current models. Sea Legion, Mordians, Talern, all could have been in the book. However, the threat of third-party models being used rather than conversions helped to prevent those units from appearing. Okay, so, retard. Games Workshop is the one that discontinued all those lines, right? That wasn't a third party came out of nowhere and all of a sudden they all disappeared. Or then Games Workshop made them, and then they took them out again. Games Workshop made the different regiments. They never bothered restocking them. They took them away for a while, and because they took them away for a while, other companies went, hey, I kind of want Talern Desert Raiders, or Steel Legion, or Mordians, or Vostroyans. You know what? Well, Games Workshop isn't selling this on the market currently because they hate money. I'll just fucking make it. They can't do anything. They've already lost their bullshit to Chapter House for most of these companies by this point. So Games Workshop's not making it. They're handing money to other people willingly. Games Workshop is the cause of this, not third parties. You fucking nitwit. You absolute tuna sandwich. This kind of action is starting to hurt the game. It's not just in the Imperial Guard book. You can see this philosophy in many of the newer codexes. That's true, but that's because Games Workshop's current group of writers and designers are way more beholden to the marketing team than they should be. And it's kind of disgusting. Fucking... oh, third party guy is the reason the fucking Iron War, all the Steel Legion disappeared. It's not the fact that they fucking got ruined like 6 years ago. Fix it, but how? 40k's models, units, and characters have lost much of their customization over the past few years. I think it's clear this is largely a reaction to the threat of third-party models and 3D printing. It's not just hurting companies, but it's hurting the game and its rules. It is, however, a complex issue, and I don't have any easy answer. Maybe GW will take more control of the tournament circuit and banning non-GW parts, or at least full models, as a better deterrent. I don't know, but I do hope some fixes made in the future. Okay, one, people who try to turn these things into a hyper-competitive tournament circuit, you're cringe. And especially with 7th edition, 8th edition, especially fucking now with 9th edition 40k, is so fucking retardedly unbalanced and so hilariously inept in its rules writing and rules organization. You have to have a very special brain in order to think, yes, this is what I want my competitive tournament tabletop miniature game to be. I don't get people who do it. It makes no sense to me. And also, there are more tournaments than just GW official ones. There are more events than just official GW ones. And if I remember correctly, they already banned third-party shit a few years ago. Like, they've already done that, and it hasn't really changed much. Despite what a lot of people think, most of the newer player base doesn't know shit about third-party or kit bashing or conversions. It's actually kind of sad, at least from what I've seen. A lot of them assume Games Workshop is all they can get their shit from. A few years ago, I legitimately trolled a couple players and the fucking guy running the Games Workshop by convincing them that a fucking Cromlech helmet was sculpted by me, right? These people don't know these things exist as much as many might assume, right? As it turns out, the internet, Twitter, YouTube, yada yada, that's not reality. Most people are pretty simple. They know it comes from Games Workshop, they buy it from Games Workshop, and that's as far as it goes. They don't even think to look up third party. This fucking part pisses me off. Games Workshop. Oh, the guard got removed because of third party. The third party exists because they got rid of the guard. And a lot of cause for third party shit to even get made is just they remove crap. Shit goes out of production, or well, like fucking look at Horus Heresy bullshit. All this crap has been out of stock since the fucking system launched months ago. Some of this shit up here was out of stock until I just checked it. Fuck, dude, those were out of stock for months and months and months, and it was pissing me off because I need to fucking Mark IV to finish the squad. Someone stole my fucking box. Piss me off. Rant for another moment, or another time. Yeah, Games Workshop. I don't know why Bell of Lost Souls decided to run an article simping for GW. Oh, poor Games Workshop. Poor them. The reason the rules are a clusterfuck right now? That's because of third party. It's not because they keep bloating themselves and they have no idea what the fuck they're doing. Third party bits to customize your dudes? Well, that's because Games Workshop so graciously keeps getting rid of options to customize yourself. I don't even know this. If people have the option, they will find ways to make shit look their own. Right? People like to have their art, have their shit represent them in some way. Or just to look different from other people. Whether that be, oh, here is my army of Black Templars, but their eye lenses are painted yellow. Or, hey, I'm gonna add extra chains to everything, so on and so forth. Or these are my Tyranids, I'm gonna add weird I'm gonna give them all claws instead of scything talons. If they'll count as scything talons or whatever, right? People like customization, and Games Workshop trying to cut that out is what's causing third-party shit to grow. That and pricing. I mean, for fuck's sake. Look at this. $15 US for 10 shoulder pads, 4 heads, an emblem, a chest piece. I don't even think it's a full chest piece. Yeah, it's literally just chest piece, not even a whole torso. And 2 swords. $15. Go to Forge World, and it's like, oh, you want some really shitty helmets? Or some good helmets? They're both $23. Oh, look at this. Look how cool. Imperial Fish shoulder pads. $23 for 10. Or you go to Games Workshop's website, and you get more for 27. You know, you also get 10, but you get a few other bits and bobs for $27. And it's still just mind-bogglingly stupid. Or you go to eBay, and you find some third-party stuff, and you get it for... You get double or triple the amount of shit for the same, if not less. Or if you have a 3D printer, you go, hey, I know, I'll just go find an STL file of clenched fist on Space Warrior shoulder. And lo and behold, not only is it free, it's already pre-supported. And bam. You just print as many as you need. And then we'll go with Eldar, because for a second, or is that talking about just the upgrade bits part of third party? We'll go with where they are, Xenos, Eldar. Most of the Eldar range until their update very recently was well over 20 years old. Hell, the fucking Striking Scorpions I still think are like 22 years old. Right? This range is was fucking ancient. Some of it still is. Now, personally, I didn't mind most of the old sculpts, but I'd be lying if I said some of them didn't need updating. And, well, if Games Workshop isn't going to be doing the updating, a third party is going to come along and do it. Them having so much shit and just not updating anything in any kind of real time is causing problems. Like, Sisters of Battle. How long were plastic Sisters of Battle clamored for by the community? People desperately crave them for fucking ever. And because Games Workshop wasn't making them, Raging Heroes came about and, well, they made themselves a name and quite a lot of money. And in some cases, like these fuck-awful Repentia, the worst models in the Sisters range, you're wrong if you tell me it's not. These fucking ugly-ass models that look worse than the old ones. Well, no shit, third-party ones are going to sell better. They look better. The third-party ones will look better. I mean, for fuck's sake. If I was told, hey, you have an army of warrior nuns, and you need some to have little to no armor, they're sent to the front lines and hopefully can die an honorable death. What am I going to buy? Am I going to buy Fuggos in gym shorts and a tank top? Who, with that fucking head, ew? With, granted, good-looking weapons, but have random armor ports that I don't recall the sisters ever having. The heads all look fucking terrible. I hate these models. And for $55, mind you. Or would I buy 5 for 20, 25, who, in all of these, not only do they look fun to paint, they look good. The faces actually look like female faces. Look at that. And like, oh, well, those are pinups, and I don't want any pinups in my army. There are more options. These are just the easy example, mostly because I like these models. Because Sisters Repentia are supposed to have fucking all when they charge in a battle, and I figured, hey, giant chain swords and maybe a little bit some shoes so they don't fucking stub their toe is probably good enough. We're going back to the striking scorpion for a second. Eldar games. They're Eldar. I hate fucking name changes. Jumping back to the striking scorpion, like, okay, you got this guy. He's pretty cool looking. I still dig him. Or if I could get this thing, I would take this thing, even if it's a bit more expensive than I would like. Because people are willing to pay a bit more for perceived quality. Although at the end of the day, if Games Workshop made the same fucking model, and they sold it for $5 more, most people would probably just buy it from Games Workshop because of convenience. Like, honestly, Games Workshop, they really want to crush third parties, and let's say this is such an amazing problem for them, and it is hurting them. Oh, woe behold, to be a $50 billion company if, these third parties didn't exist. Oh, the reason the rules are a clusterfuck is all third-party fault. It's not being fucking lazy fuckwits. The Games Workshop really wanted to crush all the third-party crap. It wouldn't be that hard for them. The production they have is the largest on the market. Like, the boxes are often worth more than the actual plastic inside, right? So, if they just sold, let's say, bits, or even units, let's say that's that Sisters Repentia alternative I just showed off, right? Let's say they found that, and they lowered their own Repentia, their box of 10, to a similar price. Doesn't even have to be less, literally just similar. It could even be a little bit more. Most people would probably go to the Games Workshop equivalent because they could get it easier. They'd buy it from GW for purely convenience and because they want to support the IP. But because Games Workshop is super fucking greedy, I mean, for fuck's sake. How much is the stupid tank? $80? That's way too fucking much. Want a fucking drill? You want a fucking drill that's not even that fucking huge? How about $150? Or I just go to Google, type in Assault Drill STL, and then I can find one for free. Or maybe slightly cheaper. If you have a good enough 3D printer and you know what you're doing, you can print it off to be pretty close to this quality. And if you have a really good 3D printer, probably better quality. Because I've had Forge World get me shit that's less than acceptable. Games Workshop quality control issues aside. Oh yeah, that's another thing I almost forgot to touch on. I touched on it a little bit with the Sisters Repentia, but sometimes Games Workshop just makes a thing and you go, oh, that just doesn't look good. Or the kit's 400 years old. Like Space Marine Scouts, which I think were turned into plastic at the beginning of 4th edition. I have a shitload of these fuckers. I have a shitload of Scouts. They're not pleasant models. They have aged like a fine. Well, I can't say they've aged like a fine milk. Like, there's shit that's aged worse. But they have not aged well. Because these sprues have an obscene amount of empty space, and I'm smart enough not to buy from Games Workshop itself directly, but $35 for these ancient fucking models with. Eh. If I found third-party ones that I liked, I probably would have gone with those. But I'll be honest, I haven't yet. We're just going with shit I don't like the look of. We'll go with. We use Lumineth Realm Lords, right? Since these are. This is a fucking clusterfuck range. Right? We'll use the stupid Stone Guard. Where most of the model looks good, except these are some of the most awful helmets in all of Age of Sigmar. We're just saying something. Right? I don't think buying. If I already. Let's say I bought the kit directly from Games Workshop, so I've spent $60. If I don't buy. I wasn't going to put the head on this either way. If I had to use Games Workshop, I would just use another. I'd use spare heads from another part or another kit in this range, or I'd spend $10 on alternate heads. Either way, Games Workshop wasn't going to get any extra money from me. It's a fucking stupid article. I do gotta wonder how much Bell of Lost Souls gets paid by Games Workshop, or if they are just that brainless, lacking of intelligence, incredibly faithful to their favorite company, who may or may not provide them financial gains. And free plastic. Obviously, that's speculation. I don't know. I don't follow Bell of Lost Souls. I do know, however, that the comments section on this article is ripping it a new one. And most of what I see in here is agreeable. And is more insightful than the article itself. But either way, remember, use ad blocker. And then tell me if I'm an idiot or not. I don't know how to end videos. I just want to point out that as I was recording this, this popped up, and the fact that Bell of Lost Souls made an article so fucking stupid that spiky bits looks reasonable in comparison. Oh, it's a shit show.